Now, a new report just moments ago that the White House itself is considering pushing Congress to give it more legal power to deal with TikTok and other tech companies that could expose sensitive data to China. Let's bring in Alex Kantrowitz of Big Technology and Casey Newton, a platformer. Both are CNBC contributors. Guys, it's great to have you back. It's been a minute, so good to see you. Alex, you first. So you got these two stories now. You got Mark Warner, the senator, ready to introduce a bill as early as this week, and now the White House leaning in, too. What do you make of it?
Well, it is a big deal that we now have Democrats starting to step in and say this is something that they're going to want, especially if Warner introduces the bill. That could signal there's some bipartisan support here. But I think something that we need to talk about is that the federal government has been in negotiations with TikTok on some assurances that it can get in order to allow it to keep operating in the U.S. And so what we might be seeing here with the White House getting involved is just a little bit of posturing on behalf of the White House and the federal government saying, we are going to have these negotiations. There are some concessions they want to extract, and I think that's what's happening here. It's a pressure game.
Casey, posturing, concessions, or outright ban? What do you think is the most likely scenario here?
Well, I have to say that as the weeks go on, I think a ban is looking more likely, certainly more likely than I think most people are giving it credit for. This is something that has bipartisan support. It's the rare issue in tech that does. And so I think if the Biden administration really wants to ban TikTok, they're about to have legislation that could actually come to the president's desk that would accomplish that.
Alex, do you think that's the most likely outcome as well?
I do not. I think we're heading into a big election cycle. We're heading towards 2024. And Senator Mark Warner said this today in his comments, right? You have TikTok that's used by 100 million Americans for 90 minutes a day. That means that TikTok is more popular than Congress, more popular than the president in some ways. And if you ban it, that could cost votes in some very important battleground states from people who are angry at you taking away their entertainment, right? This is entertainment for people above all else. So, you know, for me personally, I would say that it doesn't seem likely this is going to happen. And if it does, it's going to be a very costly move politically and would be shocking to me.
So it's funny, Casey. I mean, here we are looking at Snap, right? It's having a huge day. We haven't even mentioned that company as related to the TikTok stories, which we just discussed for a few minutes. I mean, what do you think the ultimate impact here is for a Snap? Is this, you know, a gain in stock that just is unsustainable? It's a moment of euphoria thinking that one piece of their major competition is going to be banned, because I can still think of, you know, YouTube, and I can still think of Facebook Reels, et cetera.
Yeah, well, look, we know what happened in India when India banned TikTok, and that was that the other short-form video platforms did see a huge spike in use, in particular YouTube Shorts and Facebook Reels. So I don't think it's irrational for investors to look at what's happening in Congress right now and think, you know, if a ban were to take place, Snap will be one of the beneficiaries. At the same time, I think that Shorts and Reels are much further along in growing an audience of creators who are creating videos for their platforms than Snap is. And so if TikTok is banned, I suspect it's those two platforms that are going to see the most immediate short-term benefit.
Alex, what is the state of Snap? How would you describe it, right? They come out, they say, okay, we've got 700 million monthly active users, 750 million monthly active users. We can get to, you know, 1 billion in a couple of years. We're cutting costs. We're downsizing the business in terms of layoffs. What is the state of that company today?
The good thing that I would say about Snap is that it's focusing on the core business now, right? We're not hearing so much about drones or other science project. We're hearing about the company focusing on what Snap is and making things available like Snapchat Plus that's going to appeal to creators and already has 2 million people subscribing to it. However, I think that most of Snap's growth in the U.S. and North America in particular has started to tail off, and you're starting to see a lot of international growth. And they're starting to really corner the market on people 25 and under and haven't really been able to break through past that and haven't been able to build the ad platform that's going to allow them to reach the mass population. So I think Snap is kind of in a holding pattern. All that being said, it's not going to be in the same league with Facebook and Instagram or even TikTok. And, you know, we're going to have to see some major changes if it's going to start to play in that game. And that's why when I see these gains off of the TikTok ban, they're surprising to me. Those ad dollars are going to go to YouTube and Instagram if things continue as they stand today.
Casey, speaking of playing in bigger games, what do you make of this new chatbot that Snap's talking about. Legit? Is it just jumping on the bandwagon of AI? How do you see it?
Yeah, so I've been playing around with it a little bit this weekend, and it's fine. It's not really any better than the version of ChatGPT you can already get for free on the ChatGPT website.